Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. What's the
right.
title of this podcast again?
I don't know. Objects, I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
But
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. This time we are actually coming to you on a Sunday morning. From what everyone says, I think this is God's day, right?
Sure, why not?
So you want to start off with a prayer?
No. I've already done my prayer for today.
Yeah, you know what? First of all, I knew that was going to be your answer, and that's the second thing I thought about. I'm like, yeah, I already did my prayers too. So, but yeah, so yeah, if kind of a weird situation, but I know for a fact this is the first time that we've actually recorded on a Sunday, because usually you're working on a Sunday.
Usually I am.
So it's up to you if you want to share what the delay was. If not, I already put on Instagram that life happens, so it doesn't really matter one way or the other. It's up to you.
Well, thankfully I have nothing to hide today. I got COVID, and I've still got COVID. Well, I'm getting over it, something like that. But yeah, so here I am. Thankfully I've prepared for this. Isolating from people, missing family events, not being available for others. Feeling like shit, spending too much time in bed. It's just like when I was drinking.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. You've been training for this your entire life, so yeah, that's awesome. Well, except for the last 12 years. I think you've been a little bit better over the last 12 years. So
I have.
Well, good. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny. Which again, I mean, we all knew we weren't going to record on Friday, and then yesterday when I was at Mom's, and it wasn't until I was leaving. It's weird. She gets not her, but that area. Mm-hmm. Between coming in and out of the house, I'm connected to Wi-Fi, and then that's the only thing I can figure, because I missed Mike's text yesterday by literally 3 hours, which is fairly unlike me. But I figured, one way or the other, had it been super important, you would have called me. So, but yeah, I think his exact response was, "You're not really feeling it, so let's do it tomorrow morning," which is why we're here. But the cool part is. I mean, by the time people listen to this, I mean, this will be the quickest turnaround we had, which again, getting the first episode or getting the episode up and running is not a big deal. So we'll have that up probably from now, a couple hours. So, but yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting one way or the other. Thank you, COVID, for giving us the ability to record on God's day. All right, let me just run through the stats real quick, and then I got quite a few things that I've got typed up and written down. But so Instagram, we actually had a pretty big week on Instagram. So our followers are up 114 people. So we're at 1,448 followers on Instagram. The podcast individual plays, we are now, we're up 65 individual plays, but we're up to 1,336 plays on the podcast so far.
Nice.
And then your episode now is over 100. So episode number 3, which is Mike's story, is at 103. Episode 13 is still number 2. My episode is number 3. Once again, vodka bottle episode is number 4. And our first 30 days is the rounding out of the top 5, which those 5 episodes now have actually been, I think, have been in that top 5 for, God, probably 5 or 6 weeks. So just interesting. But and as far as the breakdown, the demographics, the female population, ladies, you need to step it up. You dropped by 1% this week.
Ooh.
So female listeners 55%, male listeners at 41%. It was kind of funny. I was watching. Do you like Bill Burr, the comedian?
I'm not real familiar with him, but from what I've seen, I like him.
All right, I think he's just funny as fuck. I mean, he doesn't care. He's got anger problems. He was he was a heavy drinker for a while. He talked about he did mushrooms back in February, so that was kind of a trip conversation. But he was talking about feminism and the female movement and current events and that sort of thing. But he had said that he goes, ladies, he goes, by all accounts, all statistics, all testing and stuff like that, he goes, you guys are all smarter than us. He goes, does it piss you off sometimes? Because he was talking about like sports, like WNBA and these sort of things. He goes, every once in a while, he goes, you guys got to be able to look back and just say, how can we be losing to that? Pointing at the male population, and I have to agree. At least I'll talk about you and I. So yeah, step it up a little bit, man. You guys are smart enough. Get some of your friends in here, man. But yeah. So all in all, it's actually a good week. Like I said, quite a few more followers, and we're still getting a ton of interaction on Instagram, which is fun. So, do you want to? And I was thinking about it too. And we don't have to do it if you want to recap your radio gig. We don't have to do it right now. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to add something about that, at least a brief thing, to our sponsor page on our website. So then if you want to promote it on Facebook or anything like that, you can just drive people right to the website. I think I can put up at least one of your pictures on there. And then do me a favor, though, if you can, just shoot me just the quick details, dates, times, the name of the radio station, their links and that sort of thing. I'll put all that up on our sponsor page. And then we can talk about it, but then we can give people a place to, obviously go see all that stuff, make it easy for everyone.
Yeah, we're still over a month out, so we'll get there. I'd like to feel slightly more human.
Well, in here, worst case scenario, we talked about it in a little bit more detail last week. So episode 20, it's in the first probably, I'd say 10 minutes of the episode. Pop in there if you want more information. But Mike's going to be a guest DJ on a radio station in Cleveland. That's the easy part. We'll get more information and continue to talk about it going along. But I did do a couple of new things on for the web store. I did a hoodie just about 2 days ago. Did another shirt. I've got another idea that I'm going to put up there. So we're adding some more things to the web store. We had 2 people get a couple of things. So Josh, once again, that I told you about, he got his coffee cup. Cool. One of the other individuals that she just got her phone case, so she sent me a picture of that. There's one other individual that got her. I know she got her T-shirt, but she hasn't posted on that yet. So as soon as we do that, I'll get pictures of those up there. And same deal. I mean, if it's a opportunity for you guys to support the podcast, obviously, as always, go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give us a review, give us a 5-star rating. It helps keep the podcast running on those apps and, puts us in a better position so people can find us. But if you do want to support us, we still have the donation tab on our Instagram page and on our website. But we've got we're adding more things to that web store, to our obviously merchandise store on a daily basis. Not daily, but as we come along. And the other thing too is if anyone has any ideas, because there's a few of those shirt ideas, they're suggestions that I picked up from people. And I've told them, I'm like, ooh, that's a shirt idea. Ooh. And the other thing too, we can put that logo on any piece of merchandise that's available through the website that we deal with. So I have a couple of people that are like, hey, I wish you had a tank top in this. So I put up a tank top or something like that. We can do those things. We're
Right.
flexible, but once again, gives you guys an opportunity to help support the podcast and help us grow a little bit more. So I believe that is it on that part. Oh, anything, I mean, that with the exception of, you being filthy and having COVID, anything else on
Right.
your, any, anything new from the last week that you want to start out with?
Well, I do want to congratulate Donnie and Tyler on getting married this weekend. I unfortunately missed it. Again, missing family obligations. It sucks, but mazel tov to them.
Yep, I saw that, and yeah, congratulations. I figured that you'd bring that up, and I'm glad you did because are they two of the people that listen to us or no?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, congratulations to both of you. I saw the pictures on Facebook. Just from what I saw, it looked like it was a beautiful ceremony. So obviously, we wish wish you guys all the best. So yeah, congratulations.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, I just wanted to, and I'm sitting here with my legs propped up on the bed, and I actually have a normal foot again. I know I posted it on Instagram, but I just want to go through my little bee story real quick. So
yes, bees.
and you know what? You're the whole Tommy Boy scene that you posted, which was perfect, and then of course Chris posted from my girl when Macaulay Culkin bites it, which again, maybe I don't know. That was a touching moment in movie history. But yeah, so one of the things that and for years when I'd come down here, and even when I was out in Cleveland, I mean, cutting our mom's grass is something that I did all the time. Did the yard work around the house, and so even coming down here, it's one of the normal things that I do, and I like cutting the grass. So the last and I've been here. It's coming up on 3 weeks now. So we usually go over to mom's on Saturday, and I've cut her grass, and then we do some other things, and then I cut Kathy's grass here. For the last couple of weeks, and today I might get a reprieve because it rained. So, but yeah, so I was almost done. I got the front done. I got the back done. She's got a pretty decent sized backyard, but I was coming around the side of the house towards the front, and there's a downspout there, and I brought the lawnmower up, it's a push mower. Brought the lawnmower up, and I kind of went up to the downspout, and then actually pulled it backwards along the downspout to cut some of the grass in there and get a closer cut. And there's a tree on that side. It's almost like a pricker bush tree, so I've caught my arm on it once, but usually catch my t-shirt when I'm walking by there taking out the garbage or something. But so I did that, and I was at that area by the downspout, and then felt this pain on my right leg, right behind my knee. And first of all, my brain's telling me that fucking branch,
Right.
But then my brain thinks the branch is up by your shoulder, you dumbass. There's something else going on. So I look down and I see a bee in there. I look to the left and I see them kind of swarmed up, and they were smaller bees too. But then, yeah, I did the Tommy Boy run. I'm running to the side. I'm running in the front. I'm flailing my arms. I'm shaking my shirt. I look. There's one attached to my left elbow. I smack that motherfucker off, and I'm like, bam! Again, like shaking my shirt and whatever, freaking the fuck out. So I run in the house. And first of all, I made sure I didn't have any bees on me because Kylie and her boyfriend Caleb were here. So I walk in the house. I told them, I'm like, man, I just got stung. And right away you could see on my right behind my leg, and you can see on my elbow where I got stung because they welted up right away. Not bad. So she got me some Benadryl. I'm sitting there for a minute because I'm like, I don't know. The one time I got stung when I was still drinking, my whole foot swelled up. So I don't know how I'm gonna react. I'm sitting here, puffed up a little bit. Then I looked, and my ankle hurt, so I got hit on my right ankle too. And then I ended up, I look at my other arm, and there's like a little mosquito bite look on my left arm. And then I looked under my shirt, right on my stomach, right above my belly button. I had 2 mosquito bite looking things. So I got hit 6 times.
Wow.
3 of them ended up to be the worst of it. And by Sunday night, they swelled up. Monday was terrible. I had my leg. I had like a Popeye leg. It was crazy. My right leg. It ended up swelling all the way into my foot. We went over to Mom's on Wednesday. I loosened up. I had one of my low cut, a pair of Converse, loosened up as much as I could to get my foot into it. It just dissipated like yesterday, and today. So, but I tell you one thing, man, it was crazy. Kathy ended up and I know, I mean, bees are endangered and all that stuff, but I'll tell you what, those bees, they can go fuck themselves because they're dead. They're dead now too. And if they were yellow jackets, because I read up on this, I don't know what stung me, but if they were yellow jackets, they don't die, so now they're dead because Kathy went and got some stuff and sprayed around the hole, and there's no activity there anymore. So you know what? Fuck you, bees. You're dead because that hurt. But hey, I looked at it this way. I've beaten, to this day, I beat booze and bees, and I'm in good shape, man. Six
Right.
bees. Six bees can't take me down. But yeah, it was weird. I was worried there for a minute, but everything that I read, there's nothing you can do. It's ibuprofen, and I took Benadryl, and it is what it is. So had a good thing is working remote. I didn't have to go into an office and try to get a shoe on my foot every day because it would have been cheap.
Right.
But yeah, so fuck you, bees. That's all I got to say. But all right, so back to normal stuff. And I had written down quite a few different things through the week, but one that actually just came up this morning, and it was in one of the readings I have. Do you remember I know you know of it, but the abbreviation HOW, HOW? Do you know what that is, or what it stands for?
I've got COVID brain right now, so no, I don't.
Okay, so and I guess I wasn't really testing you because I can never remember what it stands for. It's on literature, it's on bumper stickers, it's a recovery thing, and it stands for honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness.
Right.
It just happened to be in one of the things I read this morning. So I wrote it down because those are, when you think about that, we know that honesty is number one, but open-mindedness and willingness. Even though you got COVID brain, do those three things, are those like top three in your mind, or how do you look at those three things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Got to be honest. Got to be open. Got to, not shut things down before I investigate them. I read that somewhere. And and as the big book says, willingness is the key, man. I got to be willing to take the action.
You know what? And that's funny that you brought that up, because and you said willingness is the key, and I didn't even realize I wrote down this other note on there. But so you and I have talked about acceptance, and the other thing that I see around all the time is acceptance is the key. So along those lines, so you just said willingness is the key. What does that mean? What does that mean, like in your mind, from acceptance is the key? What do we have to accept, or what does it mean?
Well, we have to accept several things. We have to accept that we're alcoholics, first of all. And then we've got to accept that we're powerless, first step stuff, man. And that our lives are unmanageable.
This might be one of those weeks when you don't care that I talk too much, right? I can already tell.
Absolutely not.
It's so funny, but then again, to step aside, folks, and Mike and I, once again, we know each other. It's not even just the fact that we've known each other for over 12 years, but we've gotten to know each other on a deeper level just through this program, and we're family now. He and I are not just friends anymore. We're family, and we've been family for a number of years now. Years.
Right.
And it's just like when I don't know, if you've been with somebody for a while, and I keep referring to us like we're in some fucking relationship, but we are.
We are, right.
So when my significant other, when Mike, my significant other, isn't feeling well and his brain's not in the right place, I can usually pick up on that. Okay, so we're back to business now, but just so everyone knows, I mean, I sort of picking up on that because you're just like, I can tell in your head, you're like, why the fuck are you asking me these questions? But anyhow, so the acceptance part of it and in the how part of it, I can never remember that HOW thing. I don't know why. You know, I remember all these different things. It's it's within my certainly within my mindset to break things down into, the first letter. It's like the Hupple thing, with the four absolutes. That's how I remember things. But I can never remember that. But yeah, and open-minded, I am still to this day not the most open-minded person. And I don't mean from a society level. I really don't. I mean, what people do with their lives, I support people, all those sort of things. So I don't mean it that way. But when it comes down to, things that I need to do to deal with my own life, and also whether it's recovery or things that are happening to me or not happening to me, I'm not always the most open-minded person, but it's right fucking there. I mean, I need to. In the willingness, I know for a fact I had no willingness to begin with. I do today, thankfully. And the acceptance part, the reason that I brought that up is that, I at least I know when I came in, and we've talked about this, but I said the word alcoholic, and then I was one for months before I really accepted it. And I was listening to a different podcast that I had found, and she actually brought it up. She brought up that fact of saying and knowing and accepting that you're an alcoholic. And she's got this person that again, this podcast I was listening to again has a base, in Alcoholics Anonymous, so you could hear a lot of that what she was talking about. But yeah, so I mean, it is accepting, our station in life, whether it be from a recovery standpoint or whatnot. For me, it would have killed me and probably would have made me relapse had I not finally, accepted that, So, but yeah, so that was my mindset on that. Oh, the other thing that came up, and people have been posting on Instagram. Well, not just lately, but I've seen more of them lately. Like their before and after type of pictures. And did you ever get? And I know I've talked to Marty about it a couple of times, and I just haven't got it yet. Did you ever get your intake picture?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I don't know if the two of us have to go in there individually, because he had said that once, and this was a long time ago. I wanted a copy. I wanted a copy of my file, and I wanted a copy of my picture, just because I was curious at how I looked. I know how I looked, but
right, like shit.
And you know what? You and I have talked about that so much, and you had to have still had your black eyes when.
Right.
So I don't know if two things. If you think about it when you see Marty, or maybe next time that I got to get out to Cleveland at some point, obviously this summer. Maybe we can run over there. I think it'd be fun to post those, because I had responded to somebody's post. It might have even been our friend the chick in California, because she had posted a couple of pictures like that, and I'm like, yeah, I said I got to get those from Mike and I so we can post those. And she's like, do it, get them. And I'm like, yeah, I want to, because I mean, it does. It shows obviously it shows a clear difference. So. But yeah, so if you think about it, if not a big deal, we can certainly try to get those. I just thought it'd be interesting. Add those. Maybe we can even add those to the website or something like that too. So
absolutely.
All right. So the other thing, speaking of other podcasts, and I've obviously been talked quite a bit about the fact that I listen to other podcasts, and there was one in particular, and I just got to her last episode, which I think it was recorded about a year ago. And what brought it up, I was coming to the end of the episode list anyhow. There's like, I don't know, 20 or 30 of them when she first started that I still need to run through. But she was a guest on another podcast for somebody that's one of our followers on Instagram. So I listened to that episode, and then I listened to her final episode. And the thing was I didn't jump ahead. I didn't read the end of the book. I didn't want to know why she ended it until I got to that episode. But I got the little bit of the insight from listening to her on the other podcast, but also obviously listening to her final episode. And here's the thing: so So she was, and I did enjoy listening to her. She was, again, very structured, in a good way. We're not,
Right.
um, hopefully in a good way, but we're not.
Hmm.
We're not structured. We're not polished, or whatever the case is. I don't think. But so she had the same structure and the same format every time, which it's just like watching a TV show. You get used to it, and it was cool. Um, but the other thing too is that her mission, and she had talked about this, was to talk about the positive side of recovery, and she talked about that a little bit in this other episode, and also in her final one, because she's like there's a place for the drunkalogs, but she's like, sooner or later we need to hear more than that, and I
Hmm.
love that. That's my mindset and your mindset. It's been that way for years.
Right.
So I appreciate that. And but the other thing that she was talking about, but the thing that just popped into my head: how many times did we hear? And if anyone has never been to Cleveland, um, this is probably not gonna be funny to anyone, but we lived and went to meetings mainly on the west side of Cleveland. There's west
Hmm.
and east side. It's a thing between west side and east side Cleveland. So it's
Right.
just
Yeah. The joke is, you need a passport to cross the Cuyahoga River.
right. And you know what? Here's the thing. I grew up there and spent so much time there. I had no idea there was that type of divide until I was out there after when I got sober. I mean, I didn't know,
Right.
but it cracked me up. It just cracked me up. But so I can't even count how many times. So we'd be in a meeting and some dude would get up and start to introduce himself. And he's like, yeah, I'm an Irish Catholic. My name is so and so. I'm an alcoholic. Irish Catholic. Grew up on the west side of Cleveland, and
Right.
and and Mike and I would always look at each other. We're like, "That's a fucking surprise."
Exactly.
So I don't know why that. I don't know why it popped into my head. Just used to make us laugh. Oh,
Hmm.
let me get your
Well,
Irish Catholic. Yeah, yeah. You're Irish Catholic and you grew up on the west side of Cleveland. Imagine that.
hmm.
But no. So she was talking about that sort of thing, and the as far as that was her goal, and she had at the end, and obviously now it's going to still grow over time. She didn't like take it down, her podcast, but she
Hmm.
had over a million downloads, which was
Wow.
crazy, and all of that in like a 3-year period. So I mean, yeah, she did a lot of good work and had a lot of good guests and all sort of things. But here's the other thing. So two things that she talked about as far as why she stopped it. One was the success, because she worked a full-time job. Sounds familiar, right?
Hmm.
Was doing the entire podcast on her own. Once again, sounds familiar, right?
Hmm.
She never had any professional help. She did have some sponsors and she had donations and things like that, which is where I learned about some of these things that we're doing.
Right.
So she had some help from a financial standpoint, but she's the one that did all that. But her biggest thing, and I've said this before, we don't edit anything except for the initial conversation that Mike and I have at the beginning.
Right.
Other than that, every word that you guys hear is unfucking edited.
Right.
And once again, we did it on purpose. So to begin with, we thought, let's keep this real, man.
Right.
But now there's no way in the world. I am not going to take my time to go through and try to edit out some words. I'm not. And I thought about it. And I don't know if you remember, there was one of the episodes I talked about. You've got our grandma's desk. I dropped her last name in an episode,
Ah.
which is my last name.
Hmm.
I can go back there and edit it. I'm like, fuck it,
Right.
And you outed Bob, you outed Tony, you outed. I forget who else you outed. A couple of John. Well, Henrock's no longer with us.
Right.
Rest his soul. He's a good dude. He died so. But so all those things I could have went back and edited. But anyhow, so she'd go through and she'd edit. So I mean, her process I think was longer. But here's the
Sure.
other thing. She said that. The demand that the podcast was putting on her from from people, and
Mhm.
she said that and she didn't say the word the people felt entitled, but it was nicer words than that. But basically saying that she's like, She goes, the emails that I get, the messages, people telling me what to say and what not to say, people that
Mm.
are offended or not offended. She goes, I'm trying to keep up on these emails and all this sort of things, so she was admittedly had anxiety issues and anxious issues and stuff like that from
Mhm.
past, all things she worked on. And she said it would bring some of that shit out, So she said sometimes physically it was actually affecting her,
Sure.
trying to keep up with this. And she was also a people pleaser, which is where that one question came up, that I asked in a few episodes ago. So
Mhm.
so that was one of the things. And she said she was actually at the point where she could have been like, okay, either I can go this direction, try to get more sponsors to do this, maybe look at doing this full time, or in her words, she said, or keep my recovery to myself, keep
Mhm.
recovery more for me, and then just go on and live my normal life. So that's what she decided to do. So, it was interesting because I thought about it, and I had mentioned it, sorry about that, probably at least a handful of episodes, that the interactions and things like that we're getting. Like, for instance, I woke up this morning and we had, I don't know, 26 or 28 different likes on our posts, things that we had, probably two or three comments and two or three followers. So
Uh-huh.
a decent night of activity. And as I'm thinking of this, I was talking to Kathy about this the other day. Um, on a daily basis, we probably have, and for as small as we are, we probably have easily 100 interactions on a daily basis. Now, it's not 100 things that I have to do, but it's a
Right.
hundred. It's 100 interactions, which is wonderful. And please keep them coming. This is not a complaint. This is just a fact. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I can see to the point, if we had a million, okay, so we have,
Right.
what are we at? We're a place 1,336, okay, and we're getting that type of activity. So if we had a million, and I don't even know
Mhm.
how many followers she had, so I get it. But the other thing she said is that she said every once in a while, she said people were really demanding, and, and
Uh-huh.
we haven't had that, and I'll say this to everyone who follows us, everyone that's interacted with us. You guys are freaking cool. We appreciate every single one of you guys. You've
Right.
added to this experience. You've not drawn away from it. But here's the main thing, and I'm going to speak for you because I think, well, I know you're along the same page. If you don't like what we're doing and you get pissed off at us, we don't fucking care.
Nope.
I do not have anxiety issues. Mike, do you have?
No.
Okay. So, and I mean that in the best way possible, because again, our listeners and our followers are freaking cool. If we get some random person that comes in and criticizes what we're doing, we've been very open and honest with this, and I'm going to say this air quotes, what this format is.
Mhm.
And if you don't like it, now if we piss somebody off and we say something that offends somebody, and I think back and I'm like, okay. So, but we don't do that. We don't. There's a reason we don't talk about current events. There's a reason we don't talk about all these different things. Once
Mhm.
again, because we do take, even though we're not supporting, or I'm sorry, we're not an AA affiliated thing.
Right.
We do live by that same mindset.
We
As
do
far as,
practice these principles.
yeah, in all our affairs, right? Imagine that.
Mhm.
So we try not to. We have a lot of opinions, but we also know where to draw the line. So
Mhm.
hopefully, I'm going to say we're not or infallible. It could happen,
No.
but one way or the other. And I'll say this again: all our listeners and all our followers are just, you guys are so cool, and I have a lot of fun doing the social media side of things. I just can't even tell you how much fun it is. So it's not work. If it gets to that point, we'll manage it. It's not something that we need to have other people, the people who are listening to us manage. But that
Mhm.
does go into another thing. We had a snafu with a shirt order. Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't going to bring this up, and then I thought about it. I'm like, no, I'm going to bring it up. So here's and I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version, because it I don't know, it happened, and it was out of our control, but I still want to talk about it a little bit. So there was one of our T-shirts came up, and the individual had said that, hey, this would be great on a tank top. I've already mentioned that. We
Mhm.
we can add anything, any of the sayings or anything like that to a tank top or a different type of merchandise. Just let us know. So I did. Sorry, I just took a drink of coffee.
Yeah.
So I added this, and then this individual ordered it, and I gave the person a promo code because I'm like, we're not looking to profit off of this. It was actually, there was something that can't remember what the deal was, but this person had given a suggestion. I even offered. I'm like, hey, I said, if there's anything more that we can do, on this, I said, let me know. And the person's like, no, let's go ahead and get it. So she ordered it. So it took a little bit, and one way or the other, just so everyone knows, these things are printed on demand, so we hold no stock on anything. The company we work with is perfect. You order it, they print it and deal with it exactly how you order it, and they get it to you, but it takes a little bit of time. It could be, a week, 2 weeks at the most, but it's going to get there. Okay.
Right.
So this person got it, but then sent me a message, and this person's like, man, I ordered a large and I got a small, and I'm like, damn. So I'm like, okay, send me this. I'll try to look into it because I haven't dealt with this. I didn't know if they would talk to me. So the long story short, the company that we deal with is like, yeah, the individual is going to have to reach out to us. And I tried. I'm trying to push on this. I'm like, I want to do this for this person because they're overwhelmed and they're busy, and I'm just trying to help out our our customer. So all said and done, they're still telling me that they can't deal with me. This individual, I got frustrated, and I don't necessarily fault this individual at all because it is a frustrating thing. But as it turned out, the order, when the person got the confirmation, said what the size was. So I don't know what happened, whether the individual, and admittedly this person said they may have made the incorrect order, whatever. But the company we do business with says that they have a 30-day thing to make things right. Now, here's the problem, though. I don't know what that end result is because, as it turned out, this person got frustrated with us, and this person has now blocked us on Instagram. And if you notice it, I use the word us because when things go bad, you're involved. When they go good, I might take credit for it on my own.
Of course.
But I'm just messing around. And it was an individual that I had followed and had followed us from the start, way back to when I had the other thing. So it kind of bummed me out. I was in my head about it, but then I started thinking about it because I even went to Spring, our company, and the final thing. I'm like, here's what could happen. I said, we could lose a customer. I said, that's number one. This could affect our reputation with other potential customers. That's number two. And I said, this could affect our relationship with the podcast and everything we're trying to do. I'm like, hey, I said, if you want to refund this person the money, I said, we got, almost $100 banked in there. Take the money from us. And I said, refund. I'm like, I want it fixed. So they said that they were going to reach out to the person, but then at that point the person had blocked us. I don't know what happened, but here's the bottom line with this. When you guys order something, we've had, I think 20, if not 20, it's been close to lifetime, from start to finish, 20 orders. This is the first glitch that we've had. And I don't know where the mistake happened, but it doesn't matter. Our goal and the company that we deal with, their goal is to try to fix it, but we have to have that communication. Communication got cut off. I can't do anything now. I can't do anything, so if anyone orders anything and there's a problem, which again, knock on wood, thankfully to this point, there has not been, just please allow us to work through it with you and we will get it taken care of. I promise you that. Okay. So that was that. And like I said, it's and I don't fault the individual. I mean, I don't know what this person's going through. It's just like, you and I always talk about, or, people talk about. Everyone's dealing with some different stuff in their life. It's not for me to judge. I wish I had the opportunity to see it all the way through. But hey, it is what it is. But I want everyone to know we have not had any issue with this company. And if there is a question or a problem, communicate with us. We and I say this, I'm not saying we'll try to get it fixed. We will get it fixed. Cool. All right. So like I said, I wasn't sure to bring it up. I'm not trying to bash anyone on this, either the company or the individual. I guess I wanted to do it more from an informative standpoint to make sure that everyone understands that, yeah, we want to make sure things are taken care of. So there. At least you're still awake over there. So
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
well, I'm gonna try. I got a bunch of different things on here, but I'm gonna try to pick out a. I'm gonna try to throw you a softball. So,
All right.
Keating Center events in the beginning, and like one of them was like cleaning up after bingo, but we were I don't want to say forced, but let's just call it what it is. we 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 had to work events. We had to clean up after bingo. We had to do all these things.
Mhm.
How did you feel about that? I mean, I don't know, from any mindset of having to do that, because again, we had to do it. So how did you feel
Right.
about doing that stuff?
Well, the way it was set up and the way it should be is we were forced to contribute to our own well-being and the well-being of the people around us. Imagine that. And yes, being selfish, self-centered alcoholics, yeah, we had to be forced to do it. But it made us be a part of something bigger than ourselves, which was the whole damn point of it. We're in this house, we're reaping the benefits of this house. We need to contribute, keep this thing running.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, I wasn't, I mean, I know, yeah, I wasn't always completely happy about it, but I did understand, and for the most part, contributed and it wanted to be there.
and once again, the difference between you and I'm looking back at like the difference. This is basically the first, and I'm talking the first 30 to, well, probably
Right.
30, 60, 90 days. Um, I I did not have that grace in my head.
I know.
um, and the one that I thought about, and I didn't think about it until you were just talking, but I mean, we worked so many different events, and the cleanup after bingo night, and to just
Mhm.
aside that, the Keating Center, do they still do bingo nights?
I'm not 100% sure about that.
That that might, well, I mean, I'm sure things got obviously shut down with all the pandemic
Right.
stuff. But, so just there was a bingo hall, and they used to run bingo on, what was that, Wednesday and Saturday nights, I think, something like
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah, so it was a revenue generating thing, because again, the Keating Center being a nonprofit would generate their revenue through these charitable events, but bingo
Hmm.
it was a big earner for them.
Right.
And we used to have to go and clean up afterwards, but it was late too, so whatever
Right.
time it was, bingo get done again, literally, these cargo vans, they pile as many fucking guys as they could in there,
Hmm.
with cleaning supplies also. And we're just packed in these vans. We go over there, then we got to wait for all these people to mingle out, and then we gotta vacuum. And I'm telling you, if you've played bingo, and you're one of these people, I don't like you, and this is why. You guys make a mess, okay?
Hmm.
and I'm not saying everyone does, but man, the leftover food and the plates and the crap on the floor and pull
Right.
tabs, and just
Hmm.
people like throw just stuff everywhere, and I'm like,
Right.
oh my god, but the one event that I thought about that we had to work was, there was an event at the bingo hall, and it
Hmm.
was Father's Day that first year.
Hmm.
And at the time, my stepdad was still alive, so Larry was still alive. And I had this. I'm like, I was again, I was pissed. And the funny part was that was one of the, if I'm and again, all these things are just popping into my head now. First of all, my mom and my stepdad came to the event, so I still got to spend time with them. I was
Right.
able to pop outside and call my son, for Father's Day. So I was able to do all that stuff. Um, but that was one of the first events that you and I actually worked together. We were at like the
We were selling pops. Yeah.
there. So you remember that, right?
Yeah. 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 I do. I remember your attitude about it too.
So, well, and you're like my fact checker, because I tell all these stories, but you were there. So yeah, I was so pissed. But
Hmm.
but the thing of it is that in figure whatever Father's Day was. I mean, I know it usually ranges from the 1st to whatever, the 3rd week of June. I
It's the
was,
third. It's always the third weekend of June. But go ahead.
is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks, light bulb moment. I didn't know that. I've been a dad for, almost 35 years, and I didn't realize that. I know when Thanksgiving is, so I'm good. I'm good on that part.
All
But
right.
so anyhow, whatever that date was, and now, yeah. So I just figured that out, or you figured it out. Thank you. But it was, you figure we were only a couple of months sober, and so clearly I haven't gotten, or I had gotten my anger stuff. But all in all, it was obviously fine, and I got used to all those different things. And in looking back at it now, everything that you just said, I do understand. But yeah, I just I didn't get it at the moment. But yeah, I remember too that so you and I, yeah, we're selling soda, and we were actually, Marty kept us in charge of the money. We actually, he allowed us to be in charge of the money, which was, there was nobody else, none of the other guys at that point. He trusted with the money, which is kind of weird thinking back at it now, but was also I remember that being a thing. I remember that almost being proud of the fact that he trusted us with the money.
Right.
So yeah, but so yeah, that was it was fun. Yeah, but again, just so everyone knows, my attitude did change. So yeah, there. All right. So one other one. This might be a little bit of a deeper thought, but if you're, you let me know. So what about, and this came up based on an Instagram post when somebody was talking about things in their past. So we know that one of the, obviously one of the recovery sayings, or AA sayings for sure, is we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. Does that have, like, to you, as, I don't want to say specific meaning, but how do you look at that? How do you feel about that? How does that work into your life?
Yeah, I mean, just the way it's stated, I used to, for a long time, I mean, my glory days were past me for a very long time. And so, yes, dwelling on the past and living in the past, it's unproductive, man. There's nothing I could do about it. It's what it is. So, one thing this program teaches us is to live in the present, to be present minded. This is all we've got, kids, is right now. What happened before, I can't change, and what's going to happen, I have no clue what's going to happen. So, right now is all I have. And it's a pretty healthy way to live, actually. And I'm grateful that I have that tool in my tool belt to live this way. Yes, at this very moment, I feel like shit, and my brain doesn't work, and I can't taste anything. But that's all right. I will get through it, and I will move on to the next moment. So yeah, dwelling on the past, clearly as alcoholics, we've done some pretty rotten things in the past. And if I sit and dwell on it, I'm going to be sitting in shit. And I don't want to sit in shit today. So I will sit in the present, and which isn't, even though I'm dealing with all this garbage, it's a moment, and I'm grateful that I'm at least present in this moment.
Yeah, and the regret part was that's the other thing too, is that we're, that this program has taught us how to deal with all of that shit. The things that we did. I believe there's certain steps that we go through to, but even continue to go through. We talked in detail about the 10-step a few episodes ago. So it is. I mean, one of I think the greatest things you just said is that it's a great way to live. And I think for anybody, and so if, for our normie population out there, if you take nothing from anything that we've ever said, or don't really find things, if you're listening from the outside standpoint of, basically, somebody in your life dealing with these problems. It's a great thing it's just it's a life lesson too, because the regretting, at least for us, I mean, regretting the past, it is hard sometimes to look back, even though I've dealt with everything. We've made our amends to people. We continue to live a decent life so that we don't hurt people again, and all those things. It is still every once in a while. I mean, even this podcast in general, I mean, has brought up, I mean, so many conversations. And like when I was specifically, the one that was tough to tell the story was about my daughter,
Right.
because it's not that I haven't told the story before, but when you relive that, and there's the thing of it is, it's impossible I think for the human mind not to look back, and I even said it a couple of times when I was telling the story. I'm just like, oh my God. But here's the deal. Then I got to look forward now and say, okay, but I'm working on that, or I fixed that, or we took care of that. And, so telling those stories can be, and I know a lot of people don't like to look back at things like that because of those regrets, but the shut the door on it, or not wanting to shut the door on it, that was the thing that I don't want to say weirded me out to begin with, but I didn't really understand it right off the bat. But here's the way I look at it now, and this is what came up on Instagram, and I think it again might have been with our friend in California, is that it might have been when she posted the pictures, her before and after. But the thing is, I don't have any regrets anymore because I know I've dealt with them, or I'm continuing to. But I never want to shut that door. Now I know why, because I need to. That's the only reason I want my intake picture. That's the reason I like telling these stories, is because for me, I can't forget what I did. I don't have to regret it, and I don't have to beat myself up. But if I don't remember, and if it doesn't cause the pain that it did when I was telling that story to my daughter, I'm going to repeat it.
Right.
So I have to keep that closet door open just a little bit and say, "Yep." There's a mound of shit in there, but I dealt with it. And if I ever forget, I'm like, take a peek in there. This is what you don't want. This is why you got to do these things today.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a powerful thing. I mean, it really is a powerful thing. But I get it. I mean, if I understand how people, because I did it for months. For that 8 or 9 months, I did that, where I regretted the whole my dad's funeral thing, and the person I was, and you got to get past those things, in my opinion, or you're just gonna, it's just gonna crush you,
Right.
So, what about the other thing that I thought a little bit about AA sayings, and this wrote down a little note here, but this reminded me of it. So when you first came in, and when we first got sober, we were always told to find the similarities rather than the differences. Did you have struggles with that, like anything like that? Either not hearing your story, or not seeing the similarities, but seeing differences when you first came in?
At this time, no. But yeah, certainly in the past when I had attempted this, that's pretty normal. Sit there and go, "Oh, I'm not that bad," or I'm worse than, I was a much worse person than that person. So there's no way I'm going to be able to fix all this garbage. Or, the other way, I wasn't that bad. I don't need to work as hard as these other people because I wasn't such a bad person. No, we're all. That's the one thing about AA. If we're truly working this program, we learn that we're not unique and we're not different. We're exactly the same when it comes to this disease, and that's important. That's important. We've got to realize that the problems are all the same, therefore that the solution is the same for all of us. Pretty simple program of action. And if we do these things, we will get the results.
Right. So this isn't going to surprise anyone, but I did not feel that way when I came in. See, it's like every time it. I don't know. Part of me, every once in a while, it's almost like, I think the the differences between you and I make it, in my opinion, make for some very interesting conversations. And I think if, um, have added a lot to to what we're trying to do here. But it's, I wish it were staged. I wish I was just making all this shit up just to be the devil's advocate or have a difference of opinion. But I'm not. Because so, and I know I said it in my story, and I don't remember if I had talked about it in more detail, but I think I did. So that night that I was brought to the Keating Center, and sitting out on that by the front door after I'd gotten to walk through and all those different things, and in saying to the couple of things that I said to our mom and to Kathy at the time was, first of all, I'm like, I say I can't be here. This place looks like a homeless shelter, which quite honestly, it is. It's a nice homeless shelter, but the majority of us that go in there are either homeless or about to be. It is what it is. Yep. And whatever your definition, and I say everyone out there, whatever your mainstream, I'll say society, because the people who listen to us, I think, get it. But society's definition of what homeless is versus what we were, not necessarily the same. Although we do know people who lived under bridges, who were living on the streets and all those different things. It doesn't have to be that. Okay. So when I said that, I was being ignorant, because in ignorant, in the way of ignorance to me is not, it's lack of knowledge. That's
absolutely.
So when people are ignorant, that's the way that I mean it. When I call somebody ignorant, I don't mean lack of intelligence, it's lack of knowledge. So I was ignorant, completely ignorant. But on top of that, I thought that, and again, I hate this saying, this is why I'm going to use it, all you people were going to hurt me. I thought you were going to try to rob me and steal from me and beat me up and do whatever it was. Because in my head at that point, I was not only was I not you, I was better than you. Okay.
Right.
But you reminded me of well, for 12 years, you've reminded me, I think I've gotten better, but I'm not, I'm still not perfect with that. I'm an egotist. I get it. I need to be brought down, and you're one of the people in my life, Mike, and you know this. And I think everyone else does that helps me do that. But at that moment, I saw all of the differences, and sitting in meetings and things like that. I remember that first week, I didn't do anything. I just kind of dragged along and blah, 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 what, and then when I start listening to the stories and I start meeting people, like I'll just take our base group of friends. When I met you, and I met Richie, and I met Wes, and I met the three Joes that we know, even when Tom, knowing what he went through. He and I were more similar, I would think, but Pete, all these different people, I'm listening to all these different stories. I have nothing in common with any of you guys, from a life level. Okay. But same thing. You and I are in the same boat. Me and Wes and the Joes and the Steves and the everyone's, and, but it took me a minute to get over that. But here's the problem. And for anyone out there that's new, and I'll tell you, the problem of being that mindset, and the problem being on that level and having that elitist mentality, is you can end up comparing yourself right back into a relapse, and you can end up comparing yourself to death. And I'm not saying that, and it's not an exaggeration. Okay.
No.
So here's the thing that I'm extremely grateful for, is I had people, these people like, the Dans and the Tonys and the Larrys and the Jims and all those different people who did group that kept explaining that sort of thing. And then I started hanging around with people like you, Mike, and all these people that I mentioned that I thought were going to kill me, that were just there to help take care of me. And then to this day, and we've told stories about it. I mean, you and I, again, if you're a new listener, please go just take a look at the website. You have to look at our pictures. You just have to, because it doesn't matter, and the story about you and I driving up to my apartment years ago and they're looking at you. But then, I think about the Breakfast Club, where they were talking about being friends afterwards. And, Bender would get his ass kicked if he walked down the hall with whoever and all this different stuff. I mean, that's kind of like our group is just this mix of these Breakfast Club people. You know, we didn't want to be there. Who am I? But thankfully, and I don't know why or how. Maybe it was just being around it long enough. But yeah, I mean, thankfully, I started to and I don't remember the first time that I heard my story, but it was mind blowing to me. This person, and I remember who it was, what meeting it was, but this person, I mean, it's not the exact story, but
Sure.
my story I'm hearing, and I'm like, oh my God. And then here's the other cool part. This new podcast that I started listening to. So I heard her. She was a guest on another podcast, and she started one which I don't think is even like currently active, but I'm listening to some of her old episodes when she was telling her story on this other podcast. And this is a female that at the time she got sober when she was 26 or 27. So at the time, I think she was 28 or 29 when she was telling this story. So here's a great example of this. 28-year-old female. Okay. I heard my story from her. She was telling my exact story. The mornings, how I get up, drink, and throw up, and this and that, all these different things. And I'm like, holy shit. Because, and again, this is, we're 12 years in a few months sober, and I'm still getting my mind blown by hearing my story from somebody. But yeah, so there was just, and again, I don't know what brought that up in, but I thought that was an interesting thing because I almost compared myself right out of that place because I didn't see myself in any of you guys at all.
Right.
You know. So anything else on that, or is that we pretty much covered that part?
I believe we've covered that.
Okay. So one other quick thing, and we're pretty much at an hour, so we can wrap up after this. But one other thing, this was just kind of a cross thought, and I think with warmer weather and that sort of thing, and other people talking about stuff. But so, do you think that you glorified drinking, and if you did, so at the time when you were still actively drinking, actively doing your thing, drinking or using whatever you want, do you think you glorified it, and do you think that kept you using and drinking?
Oh yeah, to quote Homer Simpson, alcohol, the cause and solution to all of life's problems.
That's freaking awesome. I love what we've quoted Homer Simpson a couple of times. I love that we can do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, of course I glorified it. It was the solution to everything, never mind the fact that it was also the cause of the problems that I needed a solution to. Yeah, I loved substances. They made my life better until they didn't. And then I didn't care. Yeah, I did, and the cool thing is, now I don't, I also am not anti-alcohol or drugs, the big book talks about that, that we're not supposed to be anti-alcohol. You got to remember, man, the founders, when they were in the height of doing what they did, alcohol was illegal in this country. And it sure as hell didn't stop them. So, I'm not, people still to this day will try to tiptoe around me. It happened. I wasn't even there, and it happened this weekend. The wedding took place up in Michigan, and marijuana is totally legal up there recreationally. And my name sort of came up that, do you think if Mike was with us, he would mind if we stopped at the dispensary? And my answer, of course, is no. It's not my problem. It's not it is my problem. It's not anybody else's. So no, I don't care. If somebody wants to have a beer, if somebody wants to smoke a joint, good for you. If you can, and you can do it without hurting somebody else, good for you. I can't.
Yeah, and I know that, and you and I talked about that before, and I'm the same way. There's the only thing that I won't do, and I think you and I were talking about it one time also, but
Mm,
I won't physically buy beer or alcohol for somebody. You know, if
sure.
I was in the store and somebody's like, "Hey, pick me up a bottle of," or a 6 pack of, because
Uh-huh.
I don't care what, and it's not a judgment on them. I don't care if they're drinking. I don't feel comfortable. Number one, that would make me
Mhm.
really uncomfortable, and I don't belong in a liquor store. I know that.
Right.
I don't need to be in there. I don't need to go in a liquor store for any reason. The last time that I was in a liquor store was again working for that company where we were selling business phone service, and it
Right.
was when liquor stores came up on the route. Went in there, and even that was a little weird, you know. But I was in there for a business reason. I wasn't in there
Sure.
for any other reason. But I don't feel comfortable in there, so I don't do that. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's I don't know, the glorifying part of it. While and I know for a fact I did, and I think that and once again I know I always say this. I have no idea how these thoughts come into my head, but it made me think about when, and I was probably at I don't know, early 20s or so, and I think that my daughter's mom and I were together. In the thought of being able to just walk into a bar and like grab a beer and a shot or something like that seemed like so
Hmm.
fucking cool, you know.
Right.
And then
Right.
or being able to just go to a restaurant, order a drink, or stop after work as people go to happy hour. And it was a, and again, it's a society thing. People do it, whatever. But I glorified that in my head. But where I
Hmm.
ended up with that shot and the beer thing, and I hadn't thought about this in years. When again, when my ex and I were together, my daughter's mom and I, we were towards the end of our relationship. Our relationship was pretty much tanked. I mean, clearly my fault. I'm going to say,
Uh-huh.
the way I was. But I would go, and I remember going to do laundry, and it'd be, I don't know if it was during the week, whatever it was. It doesn't even matter. But I'd go and do laundry, and I'd go to the laundromat. I would throw in my clothes, and there was this
Hmm.
little bar right up the street. I'd go in there, and I would drink.
Right.
I was while I was waiting for my laundry, and I have to believe it's true because she had basically busted me out on it. But she said that she drove by and saw my car in front of the bar the one time, and I don't remember what
Uh,
I said, but I'm sure it was just like so.
right.
But I mean, I'm in this fucking dingy bar, and literally, can I have a shot and a beer? And it was that is that thing that I wanted to do. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I was an alcoholic, but you
Hmm.
know, I could have gone anywhere and got something to drink, or bought something, but it was this idea of going into a bar. And yeah, so I mean, I think the glorifying, and maybe that was came up on one of the podcasts where they were talking, people look back, and I think you and I have been really clear that we had some really good times,
Oh
while
yeah.
working. But you said it perfectly. It was really, really good until it wasn't.
Right.
So but yeah, but there was I've got other things on here, but I tried to go through, and I've got some probably heavier questions on here, deeper ones, but I was trying to give that vid brain of yours a little bit of a rest. So
And
hopefully,
I absolutely appreciate it.
just once again, I brought it up at the beginning that I just made sure it was okay with Mike. I probably talked more on this one than I talk a
Mhm.
fucking lot to begin with, but I know I talked more than normal in this one. But I was trying to give my friend Mike a little bit of a rest. So
And I do appreciate it because I am only running on about 3 cylinders right now.
awesome. Well, I hope you feel better, but you only have one more thing that you got to do to run us out of here.
All right. Well, let me see if I can do this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, rate us 5 stars, buy a t-shirt, buy us a cup of coffee. Be good to each other this week. Do something nice for somebody else. And as always, please fuck off.
All right, man. Well, go rest your COVID brain. I love
Uh,
you, and we will talk soon.
I love you too, brother. Bye.
As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. To access all of our content and interact with us, please visit our website, SoberNotMature.com. Thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you soon.